As Joanne Dotson and her husband Bob traveled back roads in Kentucky, her eyes were drawn to a barn. Affixed to it was a large piece of art adorned in a bright pattern that resembled the traditional geometric design splashed across a quilt. It was unlike anything she had ever seen, and even hours later was something she couldn't stop thinking about. I kept thinking, I can paint that. As they were seated at a restaurant, she began to ask the locals about the piece of art she had seen. The eatery's manager explained Joanne had seen a barn quilt, a type of folk art installation that features the patterns of a quilt square painted on a piece of metal or wood, and that it wasn't the only one, but just one, in a piece along the barn quilt trail. There are dozens of barn quilt trails across the U.S., and the experience sparked a deep appreciation and love for the folk art. It has now blossomed into a business that continues to grow as Joanne works to bring the barn quilt trail idea to the Monroe community. Nestled on her Carleton property on Telegraph Road, Joanne now runs the Bird's Nest Painted Barn Quilts, a studio dedicated to creating and teaching others about barn quilts. The name is inspired by how precise birds are when building a home, Joanne said. Pieces in varying stages of completion, paints and stencils fill her quaint space, which Bob constructed a few years ago after Joanne decided to start the barn quilt business. Joanne has added her creative touches to nearly every piece of the studio, which is fashioned in the mold of a modern log cabin. From her space, she designs and produces barn quilts that she sells across the country, and she hosts workshops for students. I'm really excited about getting this trail together, Joanne said. It just brings everybody together.